Are you looking for details of the most beautiful weekend walks in southeast Queensland? Well, you're in the right place. Welcome to the Everyday Hiker podcast. My name is Beck and I'm your host. Join me and my guest hikers as we share amazing hiking locations, practical tips and guides to hikes in the beautiful southeast Queensland region, but also further afield. So whether you're new to hiking or looking for fresh ideas, I hope we can provide you with some inspiration. And please, if you like what you hear, follow me, share with your friends, rate my podcast, and of course, send me your feedback. Okay, today I have a special guest. It's Matt Murphy. Welcome, Matt, to the podcast.
Thanks, Beck. Thanks for having me on.
It's a pleasure to have you here. Matt and I have worked together and I have heard stories about Matt's many multi-day hikes. It's something that I perhaps haven't been brave enough to do by myself. I've done it with groups. And I thought, who better to talk about overnight hiking and multi-day hiking for people that are looking for that inspiration to go the next step. And Matt has done many multi-day hikes around southeast Queensland, but he tells me he's a local to Gari or Fraser Island, as many of you will know it as. And just the most recent multi-day hike he did was up at Gari. So I thought, Matt, let's kick off with Gari. And why do you keep going back?
Well, look, I grew up in Hervey Bay, so Fraser Island, or Gari now, is it's like a spiritual home to me almost, because I spent so much time there when I was a little kid, fishing, visiting the creeks and the lakes and everything. So, yeah, it's just always had a special place in my heart. And, to be able to go up there and do the walks, it just brings it all back to me, so it's wonderful.
That's great. I mean, I think it's one of the most beautiful places in southeast Queensland, isn't it, any time of the year? And I think a lot of us would like to go there and hike it, but there's a fair bit of logistics involved, from what I understand. And it's a big hike too. It's 90 k's, isn't it? North to south. So let's just start with, where is Gari and how do you get there?
All right, so Gari's up the Sandy Straits, Hervey Bay, sort of up in that Wide Bay area. So about 300k north of Brisbane. To get there, you can either get on via Hervey Bay or you can go to Inskip Point, which is at Rainbow Beach, and you can get the barge over there. That's a really short barge trip for anyone who's got a four-wheel drive. Hervey Bay, you can catch the barge over either four-wheel driving, or if you are going over to hike, you can catch over the same barge and get off at Kingfisher Bay Resort.
And so you're walking in then from either point, or if you're walking in, you really want to do it from Kingfisher?
Yeah, if you're walking in, you're doing it from Kingfisher. The Inskip's far south. So if you're going to do the Great Walk, which is the 90k version, it starts at Dilly Village, which is still quite away from Inskip Point. So you'd need a vehicle to actually drop you off there, and then it's a through walk, so you'd have to get someone to pick you up at the other end.
Right.
So for me, because I was only choosing to do sections, I walked in from Kingfisher Bay, which is the Hervey Bay or Riverheads access.
Yep, and I guess if you wanted to, you could even stay at the resort there on your first night or your last night if you needed that break, depending on what the timing was like.
Bit of luxury at the end of a walk's always nice, yeah.
That's right. Okay, and so you talked about doing sections, and we might go into the details of which sections you've done, but presumably you've mapped that out beforehand and you've got to organise the camping permits. Am I right?
Yeah, that's right. So just through National Parks website, you can. There's a Great Walk section where you can actually just book all your accommodation for the Great Walk from Dilly Village to Happy Valley in one go. But I was just choosing to do a section of it. So the parts that I did, I had to just book them individually. But it's easy to do through the National Parks and Wildlife Service website. And
is it popular? Like how far in advance would you have to book the camping sites?
The walking sites, or the campsites for walkers and hikers, it's I've never had a problem booking it. So
okay.
It's more I think there's more four-wheel drivers up there than actual hikers, so that's what you'll find.
Yes, okay, that's great to know. And we might talk about the campsites and what's in them in a little bit of time, so that you know what to take with you for it. But so what sections have you done? Like, what was the section you did most recently, and was it a repeat or?
Yeah, well, look, the focus for me, I think the most beautiful place almost in the whole world is Lake Mckenzie, or Borangara is the indigenous name for it. But Everyone's seen that. That's the jewel in the crown of Fraser Island or Gari. It's just the most beautiful, clear blue lake that you'll ever see, and it's just magnificent. It's got some magic about it. The Aboriginal name actually it relates to it's waters of wisdom. So that's what the Aboriginal name means. And it's just a mythical, magical place. I just can't get enough of it. So for me, I took the barge over, just walk on the barge, get off at Kingfisher Bay Resort, and from there it's about a 3-hour walk into Lake Mckenzie.
And I know that when I've been four-wheel driving there, it would be hard work on that sand because it's quite deep sand, isn't it, and rutted. Is that what the tracks are like on the side as well?
It varies. So a lot of the places, there's so much leaf matter and everything on the hard-packed sand. When you're walking, it's like walking on a dirt or a bush track. It's not a soft sand, but there are sections where you are genuinely walking up a dune, and it's your feet's just digging into the sand, and so it varies quite a bit.
Okay, and 3 hours. That's a pretty comfortable hike for the first day. But are you? I'm assuming there's a bit of canopy because you're going across the island, or are you a bit more exposed than that?
Well, there are two paths that you can take from Kingfisher Bay. One's a little bit longer. It goes down to Mackenzie's Jetty. So it goes along the beach to start with to Mackenzie's Jetty, which is quite a famous place where they used to do training drills in World War II. And the logging, it was big in the logging industry. That's where they used to unload the logs from Fraser Island back in the day. So you can walk down to Mackenzie's Jetty and then into Lake Mckenzie that way. It's about 12k. It's a bit longer, and it's not as pretty, and it's a bit exposed, so it's quite probably a difficult walk. You've really got to do the interior walk though, which is shorter, more direct, and it just goes through such a nice variety of Australian scrub and bush and even some rainforest. So you're seeing a real good variety, and it's quite covered. So it's quite cool. And you pass a nice little creek at the halfway mark, which you can fill your water bottle up at. So it's nice. Yeah.
Okay, that's great. So you can drink the water. You feel fairly confident with it?
Fast running water, drink that, no problem.
Good-o. So from Mckenzie then, where would you head? I'm assuming you're not just hiking in and out of Mckenzie. You're going up maybe to Lake Wabi or somewhere like that?
Yeah, well, I've been up there 3 times in the last 4 years. The first time I went solo. So what I did was I walked into Mckenzie. There's a 2-night camping limit there for hikers. If you're 4-wheel driving, you can't camp there. Mm-hmm. You can only camp there if you're hiking. So 2-night limit. Mm-hmm. So I did 2 nights at Mckenzie, and then I did a day walk to Wabi on the spare day while I was there, which is about 11k each way, which is a decent walk, but still Lake Wabi's quite beautiful on the big sand blow. And then I went to another hour-and-a-half walk along to Central Station via Basin Lake, which is another lake, quite beautiful, different colour, different sort of style of lake. It's more green, whereas Mackenzie's the blue lake. But you pass Basin Lake, have a little swim, and then on to Central Station, and you can have another 2 nights camping there. So, it's got that bit of variety where you're seeing seeing natural Australian scrub, you're seeing the beautiful blue lake, and then you go to Central Station where you see Woongoolba Creek, which is just the most clear, amazing water. It's almost see-through. You see the sand. You don't even see the water unless you see the little ripples on it. It's just so stunning. Yeah, and you're in that rainforest around Central Station.
Sounds beautiful. And have you gone further north than that?
The first time, so when I went there solo, I did the 2 nights at Mckenzie with the walk to Wabi, then I went to Central, and then I did the walk down to the southern lakes, which are the tea tree lakes. They're different lakes again. They're brown water. So that's another hour-and-a-half each way walk. You can just do any number of walks you want to do. Another time I went there with my brother and an old schoolmate, and from Central we did the walk back to Lake Mckenzie via Pyle Valley, which is massive saturnae trees and just again huge big rainforest and everything like that. So it's such variety, and all just short walks. Half a day here and there, half a day. So it's variety is the key there.
And if you wanted to head out to the beach side and go out to the wrecks and things like that, is that possible? Can you kind of loop out via the beach and then back in? How much extra length does that add?
Yeah, I haven't done that myself. Last time I went up there, I took my wife and son up there, and we did the walk into Mckenzie and then back out to Kingfisher Bay, and then we did a bus trip from there.
Right.
So we actually did the bus trip, which went up to the Pinnacles and to Mahino and Eli Creek and all those other beautiful sites on Fraser Island. So, yeah, walking, probably not. No, it's more you're walking through the interior of the island and
right.
Reaching Happy Valley, which is the northern point of the Great Walk.
Yes, okay. All right. It just sounds wonderful. I've been there in four-wheel drive and stayed in the cabins, etc. But I think it's time to go and walk it, because I think when you're staying in the resorts, you are staying on the beach side and you don't spend as much time going into the interior. So what are the campsites like? What kind of facilities are there?
So for hikers, as I said, there's no four-wheel drive camping there. So four-wheel drivers are just day trippers. Mm-hmm. The campers get to stay in a specific camping area where it's got a dingo-proof fence around it with a gate, so a lockable gate. The campsites themselves is just dotted through the trees, just small little areas just for hikers' tents. They've got a wooden platform there, so you can sort of do all your meal preparation and that on the wooden platform, and they've got metal boxes that are lockable as well, so that you can store your gear and your food in the metal boxes, just in case a dingo gets through the dingo-proof fence.
Well, I'm sure there's other wildlife as well, because that was going to be my next question. You see people with these elaborate contraptions to get the food off the ground and hanging from the trees, and then you see the clever possums work out how to get straight into it. So a metal box is what's provided to keep that safe.
Yeah, I guess lizards and possums and other critters that are looking for food at night, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and so you've been going in for maybe 3 nights, so that's not too bad to carry food and carry gear, but I guess you're still walking in with fairly ultralight stuff, because you don't want too heavy a pack if you're moving between campsites. Yeah,
I keep it pretty tight, my packing, so the food is just bare minimum. There's no gourmets or extra things. It's just sustenance, really. The other things I take, just a 2-man tent, hiking tent, inflatable air mattress, sleeping bag, depending on the time of year, depending if I want that, or just a sheet. But yeah, the food is, I just strip it back to dehydrated food and snacks, and just enough to sustain me rather than anything too elaborate.
Yeah, you're there to hike, and food's not really the goal.
Yeah.
And so, hiking-wise, boots or shoes, like what have you got on your feet?
First time I went up there, I wore hiking boots, and I just found they weren't absolutely necessary. If you're particularly happy with your boots and they're comfortable, wear those. But the last couple of times I went up there, I just wore sand shoes, basically. So pretty easy. There's nothing tricky on the tracks. There's not particularly a lot of tree roots across the track or anything like that, so it's a nice open tracks. You might stand on the odd stick or two here and there, but I didn't feel I needed the hiking boots, so I just went sand shoes.
And what about gaiters for keeping sand out? Like, how much of a problem is that, getting sand in your shoes?
It's the largest sand island in the world, so there's sand everywhere. I don't think you can avoid it, but if you've got a particular need to keep the sand out of your shoes, look, it's going to happen. But as I said, a lot of the time you're walking on tracks that have got a lot of leaf matter on it, so you're not in the sand all the time. So each to their own in that regard.
But it's par for the course, I think, is what you're saying.
You're going to get sand every which way. Yeah. So.
All right, great. What sort of size pack are you carrying then?
Probably ended up 12 to 15 kilos just with the gear. That's when I went for 4 days. So it's quite easy to carry. It's not too heavy for such a short walk. 3 hours each way or whatever I'm doing. So and when I did the sidewalks, quite often I just leave the bulk of my pack in my tent. and just take a little day pack with some snacks and some water and whatnot. So, yeah, you're not carrying too much at any time.
Now, I think I know how you're going to answer this one. But hiking poles, it doesn't sound like there's anything technical there that you might need them for, but...
No. I've never held a hiking pole in my hand in my life.
See, I knew you were going to say that. A purist.
If I need anything to just help me a little bit, I might pick up a stick, and that's wherever I go. I'll find a suitable right size stick, snap it down to the right size, and off I go. Yeah.
Perfect. So you talked about I normally ask about snacks, but in this case, let's talk meals. You talked about the dehydrated meals. How much cooking gear are you carrying?
I just take it's only 2 or 4 nights, so I just take a little jet boil, a little gas bottle, a little gas canister with a screw-on sort of flame section, and so I just heat up water when I need it, have a coffee. That's my little treatment away, just have my coffees and a few little snacks. Nighttime meal would be dehydrated meal, so I'd get a chicken teriyaki or a stew or a bolognese or something from Backroads or whoever else makes them, whoever's on special at the time. And that's a suitable meal. It's just, you just want to, as I said, it's sustenance. That's it.
And so you mentioned being able to top up your water bottle in the streams or one of the creeks before. Are you carrying in 3 or 4 days worth of water, or you're topping up as you go?
No, I always take water purifying tablets. Mm-hmm. So while you can drink water from the fast flowing streams, I still purify it and make sure that I'm not going to get any bugs. At the Lake Mckenzie campgrounds, there is a tap there which you can fill up, but again, probably not drinking water. It's from a water tank runoff from the roof of the toilets and all that sort of thing. So again, it's okay to wash your hands and wash plates or whatever in, but you need to use a water purifier.
Okay, that's great help. And is there anything else safety-wise or any gear that you think is really essential to take if you're hiking Gari for a few days?
No, look, I always take a first aid kit, but there's no real danger. Now, the first 2 times I was up there, I didn't see dingoes. They didn't seem to be prevalent on the interior tracks of the island. Mostly I think they hang out on the beach. There's so much food out there for them. So I didn't see dingoes in the first couple of times I was up there. When I was coming back out of Mackenzie to Kingfisher Bay, the last time I was up there in April this year with my son and my wife, we did see a dingo on the track. And we stopped and stared at each other for a few seconds, and then I sort of started waving my arms and he moved off. So that's the only time I've seen a dingo up there in those interior tracks and around the lake. So, yeah, it hasn't been an issue. No, I haven't thought about any other concerns with danger with snakes or anything like that because, the tracks are all quite wide and well-defined and there's no little sections where you're walking through long grass or anything, so it hasn't been a concern.
Okay. And how popular have you found it? Is there a time of the year that you think is best that you've found, either for crowds or just for the weather? I think Fraser Island's just busy all year round, but for hikers, I think, you're looking at your not high summer and not high, midwinter, so you're looking at those spring and sort of autumn times. That seems to be the most popular time. And in saying that, quite often I've been there and you only see 1 or 2 other hikers who are doing the through walk. So you don't see too many. But I will say the funny thing about spending particular time at Lake Mckenzie, early morning, it's so quiet. It's just absolute solitude. You can just hear the occasional bird and you just a bit of breeze in the trees. And it's so quiet and so still. It's magnificent. But then the tour buses turn up and the 4-wheel drivers turn up and it's like Bondi Beach. So from about 10 a.m. to about 4 p.m, it's just absolute mayhem on the beaches of Lake Mckenzie. Drones are in the air. There's people with their inflatables. There's screaming. There's carrying on. It's music going. But then again, in the afternoon, it just shuts down and it's absolute solitude again, which is, you've got the lake to yourself, which is just, it's a real beautiful time. Early morning, late afternoon, you've got it to yourself. That's I've really enjoyed hearing about this because I didn't know that only the hikers could camp there. And aren't you looking for those places that you've just got to yourself and you know you've got to share it because we live in a busy region. But like I said, overnight to have that to yourself, that's a reason to go to Gari in its own right. Yeah. So, I mean, you could simply do this as an overnight hike if you wanted to. You could just hike in one day from Kingfisher and hike back out the next and just enjoy the solitude of a night out at Lake Mckenzie.
Yeah, and even a lot of people who are staying at Kingfisher Bay at the resort, they just do a day hike and they go have a swim at Lake Mckenzie, then back to the luxury of a hotel room. So that's another option as well. It's only sort of 3 hours each way. Yep. So, but staying there, you get to see all the different moods of the lake. You get to see all the just different times of day and the light on the water at different times of day. It's really worth spending that extra time having a couple of nights there.
Well, that's fantastic, thank you. Now, I'm inclined to think that you might say the best view in southeast Queensland is of Lake Mckenzie, but if you were to pick another one just to wrap up for today, what would you say is the best view in southeast Queensland when you're out bushwalking?
I've been to the peak of Mount Barney probably 15 to 20 times. So, Mount Barney on a clear day, looking out in all directions. Only one time I've actually seen the high rises of Brisbane from the top of Mount Barney. It was such a clear day. So, but any day out there is a beautiful, beautiful view. Beautiful day. So, Mount Barney.
Well, Matt, thank you so much for your time today. I am going to invite you back to talk about Mount Barney because I think you've got more experience than anybody I know and could certainly help with people wanting to know how to get started in terms of the various routes up there. But we'll leave it where it is for today. Thank you again for your time and thank you for listening to Everyday Hiker podcast. Thanks very much for spending some time with us today. If you've got any feedback for Matt and myself, please send it in, comment on this episode. We will put notes, we'll put a link to the camping booking at Gari and also some of the trail ideas that Matt discussed today. If you like what you've heard today, please do share the podcast with your friends, follow me, rate me. Your support is greatly appreciated. So thanks again and happy hiking.